Welcome to our July Empowering Women in Real Estate Monthly Meetup. I'm glad you guys are here. We are going to get started with our usual introductions. So what I want you to do is your name, your company, how long you've been in business, and then our get to know you question today is what is your biggest time management struggle? So my name is Karen Cooper. I'm the founder of Empowering Women in Real Estate. I'm also the owner of the Platinum Group Real Estate team with my partner Vicki. And I've been in business now for 17 years. My biggest time management struggle is what we were just talking about, is when I think I have a few extra minutes, I like to add that extra thing in, and then I run late. So that is my biggest struggle, and we're going to talk about strategies for that today. So Lizzie?
My name is Lizzie Lambert, and I'm with Kirsten Smith Realty in Ashburn, and I've been licensed since 2012. My biggest hurdle would be just lack of a system, lack of order. After open houses or after phone calls come in, it just sort of to keep me.
What do I do?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. We'll talk about that.
My name is Lisa Holtgren. I've been licensed as a realtor since 2010, but here today I'm with First American Home Warranty. I'm licensed in another state currently. But my biggest time management hurdle, I think, is squeezing a personal item into the day, into the workday, and then getting waylaid and not getting back on track.
Okay. That is a common thing, I think, because we have that flexibility, and then before you know it, the rest of the day can kind of get taken away from you.
You've gone way off,
Yes.
right?
Yep. No, I understand.
Hi, I'm Thais. I am actually a lawyer. I'm not in real estate, but I'm legally exchanged careers.
Excellent.
Because I'm a lawyer in Brazil, where I come from, and the constitution is different. I came to be a lawyer here, unless I go to school over here. So my friend Kelly brought me today because she said it would be a great step into see and
Yes.
actually interested.
Well, we're so glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Kelly.
Kelly with Whiteford Realtor, so I've been licensed since 2011. And I think my biggest time management hurdle, one of them, is there's so much to do that when I get into the computer and just maybe do emails or update something, it's like that black hole, because there's so many different things that pop up that, oh, I want to do that.
Yes.
Oh, I want to do that.
Yes.
And
It's that shiny object, and then you're kind of all over the place, and then before you know it, you're not really focused in any one area. Yeah, totally understand. Okay. We'll bounce back over here for a second for our beautiful Esther who came in. How are you? All right, tell us your name, who you work for, how long you've been in business, and what's your biggest time management struggle.
So my name is Esther Biggs. I'm with Kirsten Smith Realty. Did you ask how many years in the industry?
Yes.
Combined 12 years. And my biggest time management issue would be that I like to work from home a lot because I love my house, and I get distracted by the 20,000 different things happening at home.
Yes.
So I set up one of the bedrooms upstairs as my office, and I'm trying to be intentional in shutting the door to just try to, if I'm not going to be in the actual office and if I'm in my house, to just shut the door and try to okay, the laundry doesn't exist, the kitchen sink is fine.
Yes, to have that separation. We were just talking about that. Yes.
And so not having it in the main level, it's been life changing. Just designating that one bedroom and just shutting the door, and I made it an office, my desk, my chairs, my little workstation, everything is in there, and I can focus more and just shut the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Very good. Diane?
Hi, I'm Diane Buckley. I own Stage Envy, a staging company, interior decorating. I've been in business 4 years, and my biggest time management struggle is getting exercise back into my life, because I let it slowly melt away as I picked up, and I really got into my business.
Yeah.
And you look in the mirror and you're, oh, I'm fine. And then one day you look in the mirror and you're like,
Not
wow,
fine. Yeah.
this is really soft. So that's my biggest
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would say a lot of us probably have that struggle. We talk about that a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
bad.
For sure. Nicola?
My name is Nicola Tatey. I'm with Pearson Smith Realty, and I've been in business as a realtor for 14 years now.
Wow.
And I would say, to your point about working out, is I take these classes 3 days a week, and my goal is I'm going to work out 3 days a week. And I do, because but I need to do that on my business, because
Yeah.
like you said, Kelly, there's so many different aspects to the business. You get caught up on, and then you don't finish. So I think just organizing my time, because I can do it working out.
Yes.
And it forces you to go, oh, I gotta go.
Yes.
And I go running out the door.
Yes.
And if I didn't have a class to go to, I wouldn't be
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
So I need to apply
You need the
that
system
concept
to your business.
to real estate.
Yep. Totally. Yeah, that's a good one. Patrice?
I'm Patrice DeHaven with Carried Away Gifts, and I have been in business for 22 years. And I am home-based, so I do have those issues, but I also have a very creative mind, and I have this squirrel that just,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
you know, just going, and things that I just need to be more organized, disciplined about my time.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any help, it is just me, and I just want to do the creative stuff. I don't want to bill people or or market. I'd rather market for other people than myself. So, you know, the creative side just gets carried away sometimes.
Well, it's because probably, like they say, that's like your zone of genius, right? So that is your zone. So then what you're going to have to figure out how to do is you're going to have to delegate the rest.
Yes.
Because it's probably holding you back because you dread all of those other things and you don't like those other things, so you don't do them, and it occupies space in your brain.
And then when I sit down and do them, it takes so much longer.
Yes, for sure.
So
For
much
sure.
longer. So it's a time waster.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Okay, sure. And I'm Vicki Newfowl, also with Pearson Smith, and team owner of Platinum Group Real Estate with Karen. And this is my 15th year in the business. Time management struggle. I do work from my office. I feel like I do best when I work from my office. So I probably have I heard a lot of the same issues. I spend way too much time working and not enough time doing anything else, exercising or seeing my kids or that kind of thing. So, and there's always this feeling of overwhelm in this business, because my lists, you know, I try every day to crank through as much as I can, and then it's like, you know, just being away for an hour, I see all the text messages with requests, need this, can you do this, can you call me back? So it's just this time management and anxiety of like managing it all. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a good one. I lecture her all day long, every day. So time management is a fun topic, and one of the things, and I heard this once somewhere, you know, if you think about some of the people who really accomplished big things, like, you know, think about like Oprah and, you know, Richard Branson and all of these people, they have the exact same amount of time that we do. I mean, everybody gets 24 hours in a day, but some people just seem to be able to get so much more done, and they accomplish so much more, and it's because they know how to manage their time. So let's talk about that. So I have a couple of I call them my key principles that I think if you can wrap your head around, it can really help you when it comes to managing your time. And then beyond those, I'm going to give you some of my favorite tactical tips, because I'm all about like the specific tactical, like, what do you do? So the first thing is understanding that when you say yes to something, that means you're saying no to something else. I think especially as women, we tend to be people pleasers. I know that I am, and I get the phone call constantly, hey, can we have coffee? Or hey, can we have lunch? Or, you know, and I want to please everyone, and I want to help everyone, but when I say yes to something, then that means I'm saying no to something else that might be equally as important, right? So, you know, I think that's why the exercise is working so well for you, Nicola, because you have a regimented, this is a class, I know that I'm going to this. It's okay that you're saying no to other things because you have that set in your calendar. So the key is being really intentional. If you, I'm into, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm really into Outlander right now. Anybody watch this?
Yeah.
On Netflix? Oh my gosh. So I'm super into this right now on Netflix. And you know, but I know as much as I would love to maybe sit down and, you know, binge a couple of episodes, when I'm saying yes to that, then what am I saying no to? I'm saying no to following up with my clients. I'm saying no to, spending some time with my family. So I think understanding that trade-off, and I heard something once which made a lot of sense to me, which is if something is not a heck yes, then it needs to be a no. So when you get that, people are demanding from us constantly. And when you get that request for your time is precious. You only have so much. So when you get that request for your time, if it's not a heck yes, like yes, I am really excited about this, I want to do this, then you probably should say no, because it's going to compete with something else, right?
Well, what would be a heck yes?
Well, that's going to depend. Yeah. That's going to depend on you. So for me, what's a heck yes for me? For me, it's going on a listing appointment. Those are, that's kind of my thing, and that is always a yes for me. But showing property to buyers, for me, is a no. I don't like it anymore. I don't do it anymore. I refer it out. So that is what is for me. So think about in your business, what are the things that you really enjoy, and those are the things that you want to focus on. Anybody, what's a heck yes for you? Anybody?
I think a heck yes speaks to your priorities.
Yes.
Same. I think in the last couple of years, I really started focusing more on working with sellers. So anything to do with, attending closings, negotiating an offer, prospecting for new business, or meeting with a potential seller. Those are activities that I'm all in. So other activities, I think I've either delegated. I delegate a lot, and so that makes it pretty clear to me what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing.
So the next idea, which I think maybe answers your question of what's a heck yes, is make a list of all of the things that you do and all of the demands on your time. And first of all, you're probably going to be astounded when you see all of the things, right, that you are responsible for, that you do, or that other people are asking you to do. So make that list, and then from that list, you can prioritize what's most important. What's a high value versus a low value activity for you? For me, a high value activity is taking my kids to school. It does take a little extra time in my day. With the traffic, it's like over an hour to get everybody delivered where they need to go. But to me, that's really high value because we're busy, I'm busy, they've got their friends, they have their activities, but the time in the car is really important. So I'm going to prioritize that over some other things that to me is a lower value that I can delegate to somebody else or that I can get rid of. And the only way I think to really analyze that is to list out all the stuff that you do, all the stuff that you're responsible for, because you will probably find that there's a lot of things in your day that you think it's not a big deal. She and I talk about this all the time. Well, but it only takes me a minute. It takes me a minute to do this, or it takes me a minute to do that. But those minutes add up, and they're eating time away from your day and from the things that are a bigger priority to you. So
well, what I do on that is I tend to seem like I'm more efficient. I do the little fast things.
Oh,
so
yes,
I can say,
yes.
oh, I did 10 of those today, and then I leave off the big things that really need to be done, but now they're going to take a bit. And I'm like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow.
Yes.
And then I start that cycle over again.
Yes. You know what? I am the same way, and I think a lot of us are that way because we get that little thrill when you check that thing off your list and you feel like you've accomplished something. And I mean, there's a place for that because sometimes for me, that gives me a little momentum, and that, so that can get me going. But you're right, you can easily spend all day. It's like our email inbox, right? You can spend all day and you feel like you've done so many things because you've cleared your box or you've answered 20 emails, but really all you've done is email. You've done everything you've done is reactive. Nothing is proactive. So you're right. That's a big thing that we do. When it comes to analyzing what is high value and low value for you, think about the things that only you can do. Vicki had mentioned negotiating contracts, prospecting. Those are the things that only you can and should do. But do you really need to be the person to deliver your pop buys? Do you really need to be the person that runs to the post office? You know, do you really need to be the person that does the billing? I mean, there's a million things that are a part of our job that don't have to be done by us and are actually probably a lower value activity in terms of the health of our business. So when you list out all of those responsibilities, categorize those between what's a really high value, what's very important, and what's not, and then think about what can only I do, what should only I do, and then let go of the rest.
And when you do that, I find like over the years, the more specialized and the more focused you become on just what you do, your specialty, actually the more business you do.
Yes.
Right? And it doesn't happen overnight. It's like over the years you start to say, okay, for maybe it's cooking at night, maybe if you get some help, or maybe it's getting somebody to help between 4 and 8, a mother's helper to help shuffle the kids to their sporting activities. But over time, it's kind of like the opposite of what you would think. Like before, I used to work with all the buyers and all the sellers and all of the things.
And all the places,
and all the
yeah.
places. And honestly, now I think I probably do 4 times as much business,
That's
and
right.
yet I do only one thing.
Yes.
And you wouldn't think it would work that way,
Yes.
but it really does work that way.
Yes.
So you can sort of remember that as you're thinking through your day. Are there certain things that you're willing to delegate out? Because if you do, the reward is in time you become very in tune with what you do. You specialize.
Yes. I agree with that completely. You know, when you're brand new or you're newer in your business, or if you're in a phase where you're growing your business,
Yeah.
we've both had
We've all
situations
done that.
where we've, left the business and come back and we've had to rebuild. When you're in that phase, you do everything, and that's important because part of that is you're rebuilding, but you're also learning. You're learning, what do I like? What am I good at? What's the best thing for me to do? So then as you get busier, you can start to really specialize. And it is true, when you specialize, I have seen the same effect. I only serve a very limited area. I do only a very specific thing, and that's it. And my business is more bountiful because of it. And I'm able to attract more what I want, and then what I don't, I need to just refer, and it works out.
Yeah.
Any questions about that? Anybody want to give any examples of what is maybe a low value activity that you're currently doing that you don't need to do? Kelly?
Would sending out mailers be one of those things?
Indeed it would.
And also knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Like tiny.
Yes. Hire runners for that.
Low value.
Totally. I used to deliver all my own pop buys, and then I finally stopped because not only did I not like it, but I realized that people weren't home. And so they don't know. It's not valuable. It's valuable to drop it off. It's valuable to send the mailer, but it's not valuable that I be the one to do it. So you can hire, right now we have one of Vicky's sons who drives, is an intern, and today he's running some things for us. He's going to the post office. You can hire your kids if they're old enough. You can, we have a couple runners that work for us that are stay-at-home moms, and they're thrilled to have a few hours during the day and do some work. And so one of our agents on the team was just talking last week. She's resisted that because she thought, I have to do it all myself. And instead, she paid $50 for this woman to deliver all of her pop buys and saved her a ton of time. So definitely, those are things. Any other low value activities you need to get rid of?
Contract coordination.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a hard time delegating, and I need to divvy that out and trust somebody else.
So you're doing
'Cause
it all
can
yourself?
Be very time consuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Like
can.
a transaction coordinator?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It takes courage, right? Like I remember when I came back just 2 years ago, came back into the business, it takes courage to think like, okay, if we hire someone, a full-time assistant, then that means I have to have enough business to keep them busy, and I have to have enough money to make sure they get paid.
And finding someone you trust,
Yes.
finding the right
Is
people,
good,
because
yes.
I have a situation now, my son is down there, like you said, helping,
Uh-huh.
but I feel like I have to step in for some of these other agents,
Yeah.
which is very time consuming,
Yep.
and they're so inept in some ways. It's like, how can I
You're doing their
trust
job too.
how can I trust someone else to
Yeah.
be
Are you
on
in a
top
team?
of all
Are you in a
that?
team?
No, I made my husband get licensed. So but he's doing more. He owns a marketing company, so he's doing more of the marketing side of it. Not really the everyday. He'll go and show a product.
Yeah, because I had been solo for a long time
Mhm.
in my 8 years in real estate. And when I became part of a team, they provide the transaction coordinator, and that just like free up a lot of my time, but a lot of like my brain space.
Yes.
Like I can breathe, and I can, it's like things happen more organically, and like I don't feel like I'm forcing myself to do a lot of things. But the key thing was finding the right transaction coordinator that we know that once we ratify, it's in their hands, and we can move
And you
on
can
to
trust.
They
other
understand all the
things.
deadlines,
Yes.
and I might have to
So-
micromanage for a short
Yeah,
time.
so the transaction coordinator might be a lifesaver for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You know what I know about you, Nicola, is you're so professional and you are so attentive to the details. And so I think because of that, you're afraid, and this one here does the same thing. You're afraid that somebody else is not going to do it the way that you would, or that
miss a deadline, or miss a this, or miss a that, and then
Oh, I
it
have
was-
my little
sometimes not even
checklist, and
phrase
I'm like, I
things
wonder
the
if
way
they'll
you
use
want
my
to
Excel
bother you.
spreadsheet, because I have a checklist,
Yeah.
you know, this is what happens when, but yeah, so that's my biggest issue,
Mhm.
is just,
What about your husband?
oh no, he's
He's
busy.
marketing.
He's doing
Aren't you with Kirsten Smith?
Uh-huh.
Have you tried using the coordinator with them?
I have not. I've
Oh,
heard
I
some
did
good
it for
and
the first
bad,
time.
and so of course I focus on the bad.
Sure. But you know what? Nobody is perfect. And, you know, my assistant who has, worked for us for 4 years, who is outstanding, just missed a pretty big thing this week. And so, it happens. And, you've probably missed things.
Oh,
I've missed things. So, I'm paying for a humidifier this week because of something I missed. So, it happens to all of us. So I think there's a shift in expectations that has to happen because unfortunately, there are things that will be missed. But I would try the,
It's part of the curve too.
Yes.
You just have to be aware that I think the better prepared you are, like in knowing
Yes.
what
Yeah.
the expectations are that the
Yeah.
other person's going to do, and if you're very organized, that will be helpful
Yeah.
versus people that kind of dip into whatever it is.
Yes.
Help me with this.
Yes.
You'll have more
I'm
success
gonna have
quicker.
to take the leap of faith.
But
because
you
I
are.
I can't move my business
Do it
to
with
the
one.
next level.
Try it with
at
one
what I'm
and
doing.
see how it works.
Yeah.
Try Kim. Kim is excellent.
You can
Um,
try half. You can try a coordinator to help you up until it's listed on the MLS, and then
Yeah.
you can just cut off that charge.
Yeah.
Or she can do it from start to finish, or you can, you don't have to do
Okay,
the
that's
whole.
my number one thing.
Okay.
I did it
Perfect.
for
We're
the
going to hold you
first time
accountable to that.
This year, and it
Yeah.
was,
Who did you use? Which one did you
Yes.
use?
I'm gonna take the leap of faith.
she works for, is it Ember?
Ember. Mm-hmm.
Ember.
Yep. Okay.
So she
Integrity
designated
Pros, I think, or
somebody-
something. Yeah.
She designated somebody for me,
Mhm.
and there was just a couple of things that I'm like, I don't like the layout on the flyer. Can we just
Yeah.
change this
Yeah.
around? And she did it like
You
that.
gave feedback.
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean,
And then
for
they get to
me,
know how you work.
I was busy during that time, so just to get that one listing off my plate,
Mm-hmm.
I think
That's
it,
huge.
it just like worth it. My sanity, yes,
Yeah.
it was worth
Yeah.
it.
I'll do that.
So a lot of us have that, and I heard Patrice say that you don't like you're so good at the creative, and the stuff that you do is so creative, and you do these beautiful gifts, and if you're not able to be creative, then you don't have a business, right? So free up your mind with some of this other stuff by getting somebody to come in and do some of
Remember,
it
a
for
few
you.
years ago, I was in charge of payroll.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Sometimes they get paid, sometimes they didn't.
No.
So,
That did not work.
No.
That is not her zone of
Figure out
genius.
what works for you and commit. I think to me, like one of the greatest steps is finding a really good administrative assistant. At first it was part-time, and then really I think if you can get to that point is we're getting a full-time assistant, because then you're free to do what you do best, which is
Yes.
connecting with people,
Yes.
having relationships, getting
Right.
better,
Yes.
How
learning.
did you find an assistant? Do you go to LinkedIn?
She was on
because it's not
Craigslist.
really an official, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's kind of
we found Melissa on Craigslist.
Yeah.
Of all places, we
Yeah.
found Karen as a
She's
connection
She's
through.
another mom at Loudoun County High School that reached out to me through Facebook, and she was looking to get back in the field. And as she was speaking, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Our transaction coordinator is a former teacher. Now she has 2 kids or 3,
Yeah.
and so working as a teacher
Yeah.
wouldn't make enough money to pay for daycare.
Yeah.
So she's fabulous.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
So
trying to
maybe
find
Facebook,
somebody.
put something
Yeah.
on there and get
For
the
sure.
word
And just your
out.
community, people around you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that would welcome a part-time job,
Yes.
or a full-time job.
Right.
One of the things that we did, just sort of as an aside, when we were hiring for this position, is because detail is important.
Yeah.
We included a specific detail in the hiring, and so we knew immediately if they couldn't even follow the instructions. So we asked everybody to fill out a DISC profile, even though we didn't really know what was going to be a good DISC profile or not. But we asked them to do it, and in the ad it said, "Go here, fill this out, submit it with your resume." And half the people, at least, didn't do it. So what does that tell you? They don't have good attention to detail because they couldn't even follow the instructions in the ad.
And
So
this job requires that.
totally. So include something like that, because that's going to help you right off the bat to eliminate people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and what you're saying and something you just said makes me think, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do something. For years, I had a lot of trouble letting go, and I would design my own brochures because I could. Like, I could do it. It took me a long time, but I could do it. And then when I started having Dee do them for me, they look so much better. It takes her a quarter of the time to do it than it took me to do it. I mean, yeah, can I do it? Sure, I can, but it's not the best use of my time to do it. So, any other thoughts on the high, low value?
And recently, since my children are driving now, I give them a whole list.
Perfect.
Here are the receipts to do my returns.
Yeah.
Here is go to the post office, go here.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
a big weight.
Yes. Yes.
Because those little things start to.
Oh my God, I'm worried about oh my God, I've got to return that. I've got to return
Yes.
that. And then it's sort of like, well, we've been working all morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What do
Yep.
you think I do all day?
Yep. And you can write off what you pay them. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yes. So make sure you write off. I think
Yes.
it went up last year, 9,000. So we always do the max for that.
Yeah.
So one of my other things, and I do this a lot with my email. I like to try to keep my email inbox as empty as possible, but it applies to everything, and that's do, delegate, and delete. I hate to touch things more than once, because when you touch things more than once, you're really just wasting time. And so when something comes into you, this is really easy to do with emails, of course, but it can be with anything. When something comes in, if it's something that you can do immediately and quickly, then do it right away. I have found, especially as I get older, that if I don't do it right away, I will forget. And then sometimes it gets buried amongst, 1,000 other things, and then I've missed it. So do it right away. If you can't do it right away, then schedule it in your calendar or somewhere so that you have the time set aside to do it. If it's not something that you need to do, then delegate it. Just right off the bat, just get rid of it. Whether it's one of your children who can drive, go drop this off for me, or whatever that is, delegate it. And if it's not something that you need to do or can do, and it's not something to delegate, just delete it. I mean, there is a lot of demands from us that other people put on us that fits their agenda, but doesn't necessarily fit ours, and that's okay, right? Yeah, that's okay when that happens. So just because someone asks you for something or asks you to do something doesn't mean you have to. So I think that's something important.
You can always say, let me get back to you on that.
Yes.
You don't have to right away say no.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I think sometimes we're so hesitant to hurt someone's feelings or to upset someone that we will sometimes right away say yes, even though we don't really want to say yes. So don't be afraid to say no.
So can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
So she really does this, do, delegate, or delete.
I do.
Like, she does it, things get done. So I find sometimes I'm either in the car, I'm rushing, I open the text, I see the email, and I think, oh, I can't deal with this. And then, or by the end of the day, your energy level goes down. By the end of the day, you can, sometimes I can't handle whatever it is I can handle in the morning. Do you feel like that you get tired, right? So how do you do that when things are still coming in throughout the day? How do you handle, or you're distracted with maybe a family member or something like that?
So I think you have to be, and you do this. You get very scattered and frenzied.
Yes.
And we all do this. We get scattered and frenzied. And usually when we're scattered and frenzied, it's because we're trying to do like a bunch of things all at once, right?
Okay.
So you have to separate. You have to like be intentional with your time and be present where you are.
Because it's a business of interruptions.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Do you feel that way?
Yes, very
By
much.
communication, or
Thank you so much.
calls, or text, or this or that. So it's so easy to get overwhelmed.
That's
So
right.
just put it down. And
Yes,
don't look.
you have to put it down and don't look, because otherwise you will nonstop be doing things. So, I have, I put the do not disturb on my phone, but I have my favorites, and my favorites are like, my husband, my children, you, Melissa. And so if one of them, like when I came in here, my husband has a problem, he texted me, so I got his text, and so I'm able to address that. But anything else I haven't seen, because my do not disturb is on my phone. So do that. Don't be afraid to do that. It's not the end of the world if it takes an hour or two for you to get back to somebody. I mean, your time is just as valuable as them. Them reaching out to you is them imposing on your time right that second, but that doesn't mean that that's the most important thing for you to do right that minute.
I had
Yes.
a discussion with someone yesterday about something like that, and sometimes when you don't respond to everything immediately, it takes care of itself in the meantime.
Yes.
We tend to think we have to solve
Oh
it right
my
this
gosh,
minute.
yes.
And sometimes you wait, you say, you know what, I'm not gonna get back to that client right now, they need a couple minutes to cool off. You know that, but other times you just let it go, and something else happens in the meantime.
Yes.
It makes it a better situation, not necessarily worse.
Yes.
We assume it's gonna be worse,
Yes.
but not always.
You are 100% correct about that, because you're right. We have this tendency or this urgency about us that we have to do it right this very second. And you're right. Sometimes when we don't, it's like when you have young children, or like we have teenagers now, and it's like teaching them to figure it out on their own, right? And so they will, my kids are all the time asking me about things that they could very easily do and they can figure out. And so, the tendency is, well, let me jump right up and do that for you. Let me jump right in and get that done for you. But really, if I just give them 10, 15 minutes, they're going to figure it out and do it themselves. And I think that you're absolutely right. That is the case with a lot of things that come into us.
Yeah. I used to have anxiety when I first started out, when you had to take every phone call
Yeah.
or respond to every email or text.
Yes.
But now I'm not dealing with that anymore.
Yes.
They don't have enough respect for your time. And I had this buyer that texted me the other day, and I've already asked him to sign a buyer's agreement. Well, you know what? He didn't send me his wife's email address, so I'm not responding to you anymore, because I'm not going to play your game.
That's right. Because they're not respecting you,
No.
and they're not abiding by the boundaries. So
And my
you don't need
business is
to.
a different place. I'm not working with people that are disrespectful.
Yes.
No.
Good for you. Well, that's a perfect segue, because the next thing I wanted to talk about is establishing boundaries. And I think that's one of the hardest things for us to do in our business, is establish boundaries, because there is this perception. I mean, this is a 24/7 business, right? Things are going and happening all the time. And so it can be really easy to, respond to the text message at 7 a.m. and, take the phone call at 10 p.m. And there are certainly times and reasons and experiences when that is appropriate, right? You've got something urgent that's happening, you're dealing with a problem, you're waiting for a vendor, you're in the middle of a negotiation. But I think that if you think about your time, and if you think about the times that you do those responses, that stuff is not urgent. And that stuff is not critical. And that stuff does not warrant a response in 90 seconds at 11:30 at night. And what happens is, when you respond, you've just taught them that it's okay. That, if I have a silly question about when is my brochure going to come at 11:30 at night, when I respond at 11:30 at night, I've just taught them, this is a great time. Vicky's up now.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful time for me to get in touch with her.
I had one last night, 10:30 at night. Should I transfer my utilities? And I'm like, what?
Why is this appointment at 10:30 at night? But so what you have to do is you have to establish the boundary, and it's okay to not respond. And again, I have the do not disturb thing on my phone. It comes on at about 9:15, and so I legitimately will not see their text message, and I will not see it until the next morning. And it's okay. It's okay to respond the next morning And you don't have to say I'm sorry. You know, this is a reasonable time. Yes, today would be a great day for you to.
And a lot of times they may
transfer.
just be getting it off of their desk.
Yeah,
Because I do that
exactly.
too. I'm like, I don't care what time it is. I just need to get it out
Yes.
there so I can move on.
They're
they don't
volleying
maybe
it back
even
to you.
expect a response.
Right,
They
exactly.
might think that, you're not going to see
Exactly.
it until the morning.
That's exactly, yes,
Some will,
that-
some
that-
won't.
that's right. And if you respond, you've taught them that, oh, this is a great time I can communicate. So, one of the things that I do, that I learned to do, is I will not, especially when calls come in, my limit, I don't have it in my voicemail where it says, I don't take calls between certain, some people do, and that's right for them. That doesn't feel right for me. But if I get a call, typically after 8 o'clock, I'm not going to answer, because I am legitimately, like, this is when we're kind of winding down for the evening, and I'm in bed a little after 9. And so if I get that call from a client, then what I will do is I will text them back, and I will say, I just missed your call. I'm settling in for the evening, getting ready for bed. Is there something urgent, or may I call you first thing in the morning? And 99% of the time, it's not a big deal. Yeah, please call me in the morning. And so now I've established that boundary, and they will never do that again. And of course, the key is you have to follow up, and then first thing in the morning, I need to get back in touch with them. But having those boundaries is okay. Is anybody else struggling with those things, those boundaries? Yeah. Tell us, Kelly.
Well, I was a listening appointment with someone that I popped them by the home. So, they interviewed me for the listing as well, and I recall that, when we were on the buy, they were calling me at 9:30, 10:30 at night. And that was many years ago. Now I changed my hours, and I told them
Yeah.
that,
Good for you.
up front, this is, you use my hours.
This is how I do it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, like they don't want to work with you? Like not.
Oh, now that you're not at their beck and call, they're
Yeah.
I'm not going to be at their beck and call.
Yes.
I have not heard from them.
And that it is a risk.
So
I mean,
it may be a good thing.
yes. Yes.
I'm going to look at it as a good
That's a good thing. You should.
Because the listing is actually over in Springfield.
Mm.
Where, in general, I'd rather prefer to stay in Loudon.
Sure. They're not your people.
So,
Yeah.
But
I
this is
make
a
that
it's like this is a possibility of
Yes.
some people may decide that,
Yes.
then I'm just not going to.
Yes. You're absolutely right. That is the risk that you run. I mean, thinking back over the years, I mean, it's hard to come up with more than just a couple of experiences where I had that experience. And so, to me, I'd rather let go of those couple that it doesn't, we don't click with each other, then, because what's going to happen is you're frustrated, and then you're up at night and you're feeling anxious, and oh my gosh, and you're trying to be with your family, and then this person's calling, and and so it's going to affect the rest of your business. So sometimes you're better to let it go. Nicola, did you have a?
Well, I had a funny situation. I mean, it worked out fine with my client because he was a long-term client, but he would always text me really late, and if I was watching TV or something, I would respond, but like you said, he got used to that.
Yep.
And I responded one time, and it was getting kind of late, like 11 o'clock.
Oh.
And I had fallen asleep. I texted him, and then I passed out. And then he started texting me again, and the next morning, I'm like, I am so sorry. He's like, yeah, you're texting me 1 minute, the next minute, you're gone. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do it at night, because I had
Yeah.
fallen asleep on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is this, Vicki and I talked about this when she was on vacation last week. I mean, there is, sometimes with the text, especially, there's this thought that, oh, well, this is just really quick.
Yes.
Like, it's not a big deal.
Right.
She's on vacation, her clients know she's on vacation, and they're texting you about a brochure.
Yeah. Yep.
And so,
And they know I'm on vacation. I
Yeah.
get away messages, so and so is covering for me. And you kind of feel like if you don't respond,
You
the
can't.
thing is, the moment you respond, you've engaged, and now it's
Yeah.
like I can do it again.
yes.
So it's tough
Right.
because you feel guilt, you feel anxiety. I do the shortcut
Mhm.
on the keyboard, which
Yep.
is I'm on my vacation. But even that feels kind of weird because somebody has to press that button,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
I think I need to, because if you get to a point where you're no good to anybody.
Yeah.
I sometimes turn my phone off so it doesn't show on
Yeah.
another iPhone
Yes.
that it's come through, but
Yeah.
then I wonder what else I'm missing,
Yeah.
and I turn it back on,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
like,
it shouldn't be that you can't use
No.
those texts because I've got my kids with me. and
That's
if
right.
they're one-
I do so we both do a keyboard shortcut. We have an iPhone, and so I have a keyboard shortcut. I'm going on vacation. I'm leaving Saturday, and so it will be set that says, so I've got it prepared. I am currently out of the office on vacation. I'll return on this date. Please contact so-and-so. Here's her number. And all I have to do when a text message comes in is I type in 2 little letters, and that text is going to populate and send. So yes, I have to send it, but I've got the discipline. It's a personal discipline that I'm not going to engage, because even just answering the simplest question, I've taught them that it doesn't matter that she's on vacation. She's happy to hear from me, and she's happy to respond to me.
Well, and you do such volume that you guys would have no life.
None. Yes,
Answer
none.
every text.
That's right. You can't. And I think you also, sometimes you don't have to, and this is something that I talked to Vicki about. Sometimes that text message comes in, and it really doesn't have to be answered by me. It could be answered by Melissa. And so the reaction is, well, let me respond real quick. So again, it's a discipline, but what I'll do is I'll forward it to her, and then I'll get her to respond. So now, again, I've
They just
taught,
want an answer.
right, and so the answer is being given, but also I've taught them, for this type of thing, I can go direct. And so a lot of times my communication ends up going directly through Melissa, and it cuts down on the communication that I have.
I love that word discipline, because I think time management really comes down to that. Discipline and priorities, right?
Yeah.
If you're willing to go out and get the classes done because number one, you're scheduled, but also it's a priority, and you're disciplined enough to do it, right? And vice versa.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
For sure. And I think that, just a couple more things on the boundaries, and the discipline of that. One of the things, my very first day in real estate, there was this agent who, and he was kind of new too. He'd only been in business for a couple of months, and we sat down and he taught me a bunch of things. And there were 2 things that he taught me that day that I have never forgotten, that I have used over and over again, that I have told over and over again, and it's about appointments. And the first one was, everything you do is an appointment. And so there's this tendency that we have when the client says, I'd like to see this house today at 5 o'clock, to say, oh, I'm sorry, my daughter has a play. Or, oh, I'm sorry. Now, there is nothing wrong with going to your daughter's play. But sometimes, unfortunately, some people, there's a perception of, oh, I'm not serious enough to her business, right? So I do not, I have 3 kids. I'm very active with them. But I don't share that with my clients. There's very few, and it's usually people who are, close friends. And so everything is an appointment. I'd like to see this today at 5 o'clock. I'm sorry, I have an appointment. Here's an alternative. So that is the number one thing. And then the second thing, which I think is most important, is never, even if you're not that busy, never say, when would you like to meet? Because you've done a couple of things. You have, number one, kind of put out there the expectation that you're available anytime. It's at their convenience, and when would they like to get together, and you're kind of at their beck and call. And then the second thing is, you can pretty much guarantee that even if you only have 1 appointment on your calendar in the whole week, they're going to pick that one time for what they want. So whenever someone says, I would like to see this property, or can we, I want to meet to talk about listing my home, I always say, great, I can do it today at 4 or tomorrow at 10. What works better for you? And they will almost always choose one of your times. So I have driven my schedule. I have treated myself like a professional. I have conveyed myself like a professional. And now I'm kind of in charge of my calendar. So that's huge. So if you do nothing else, I encourage you to
It's great advice.
do that.
It works beautifully. I just did it like an hour ago. They said, when would
Very
you
proud
like
of
to
you.
meet? I said 10 or 2. Those are the times.
Yep.
And they came back with a time, and it's
And
done.
that's it.
Again, it takes discipline, because
Yes.
I think we're very accommodating, all of us, right? We want to give great customer service. We want to be flexible. We want to do all the things for our clients. But the more malleable we become, the less respect we garner, and you really, we are professionals. I think if we start to behave that way, I think the industry will start to treat us that way as well.
Yep.
Quick question. So when you have a meeting with a client, let's say that whether it's a buyer or a seller, And typically you allocate like 30 extra minutes as a cushion because we're always talk extra,
Yeah.
whatever, right? So how do you put it in a way that whenever the clock is ticking, let's just say that,
Yes.
I'm just
Yes.
gonna put an example like today, right?
Yeah.
I had what it was gonna be a quick 30-minute appointment to just go measure something and head over here because it wasn't resting. It turned into an hour and 15 minutes. And I know, like, I work great with older people because I am patient and like
You're so kind,
yeah,
yes.
like I can
You
like,
are.
Somebody's got to work with them.
I believe it, and I love it, but they take longer, right? Right? And I'm like, oh God, I made it 10:30 so that I wouldn't be rushing to the meeting because I can hardly make these minutes.
Yeah.
And so, how do you word it in a way that you're like? I even said I have a 12 o'clock
Yeah.
when it's just like I just want to
You-
show
you-
you. I just
yeah,
want
yeah,
to show
yeah.
you. I just want to show
I hope
you
it's
my
the answer
next
I've told you.
door neighbor, and I will show you real quick what she did.
Well, you do it.
I'm going to test you. No, go ahead. Let's
So
see.
I
Let's
think
see.
when I arrive, I'm, just so nice to see you today. We're excited to talk about so and so. I'm going to keep an eye on the time. I have a 12 o'clock appointment. So that way you weren't kind of setting the expectation.
Yeah.
Is that the answer? No. So
Close. It's close.
but I think I set the expectation at the beginning. I have a 12
Yeah.
o'clock appointment. I got to get to. I'm just keep an eye on the time. But honestly, half the time they're keeping an eye on the time for me. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, you got to be late.
Yeah.
So
And make it 11:45, not 12.
Yeah. I'll set the timer on my phone.
Well, and I've gotten to the point where when I book an appointment, I let them know when I booked it. My next appointment is at blank, so I have a hard stop at 2:30, so that if the situation arises and I need to spend more time with them,
You go back.
I can say when I get there, okay, well, I don't have to be at my appointment. It was changed or whatever, but letting them know before I even get
Yes.
there that I have a hard stop at 2:30
Yeah.
saves a lot of. Because what you're talking about can go on
On and
for
on.
hours and hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
What I
do
do.
it a little bit more in social situations, but I will sometimes say to people like, I've taken up enough of your time. It's time for me to, to move on. And they think like, sometimes they'll say, no, it's okay. But you've already like opened the door to, I'm on my way out. That doesn't really create much value for you in a professional situation.
Yeah.
But-
Well, it can. I mean, I will, if I know that I have another appointment after, I will set a timer on my phone. Because whether your phone is on Do Not Disturb or not, the alarm is going to go off. And I'll set it, 10, 15 minutes before I really need it to go off. So that way I can, wrap up what I'm doing. Because then when it goes off, they go, oh, and I'm so sorry. I do have another appointment. Let's kind of wrap this up. And so they'll never, set the timer. Set the timer. So one more thing about boundaries, and then I think I have my kind of my tips to share. So when it comes to boundaries, you need them for yourself too, because I think sometimes we're not good with them ourselves. You were talking about this, Esther. You were talking about this about working at home. There's so much blurred lines with our job because we do have a lot of flexibility, and so it is easy to say, well, I'm just going to run out and run this errand. And then, or I'm working from home, let me throw this load of laundry in, let me unload the dishwasher. And then before you know it, you've gotten completely sidetracked from what you're doing. So it's important to have some discipline with yourself. And I do that, for me, what works well is I do that with routines. And so, I will do my, if I'm working from home, whatever my little household chore is, I'll do it in the morning before I start. And then, I have to be disciplined enough with myself not to touch it again during the day, because it is very easy, shutting the door. I love that you do that, because you're kind of giving yourself that physical boundary, because you do get distracted from it. I like to, something that really helps me with managing my time, and actually is probably the thing that made me the most productive when I took a break from sales and I was a managing broker for a while. And part of that decision making was to free up my time and to give me more time in the evenings. So I knew that I was going to leave the office at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and I did not want to have to do any more work any more proactive work when I got home. And so what that required then is I found that I was actually so much more productive during the day, because with our job, it's very easy to think, oh, you know what, I can work on this tonight after the kids go to bed. I'm gonna run to Target now, or I could do this after dinner. And then before you know it, like your work is bleeding into all of your day. So I use that now, and frequently, like Vicki, I mean, right now I'm not, because it's summer, but I work from the office pretty much every day. And so I know what time I need to leave. And so that stops me from, you know, some of the idle Facebook scrolling or getting distracted with something else, because I know I need to finish these things. I don't want to do this when I get home, so I'm going to do this now. Does anybody do that with your day?
Thank you.
I have a repeating calendar weekly thing. Every Sunday, it says no work Sunday. So
No work Sunday?
No work Sunday. I don't work on Sundays. In fact, I try not to work on weekends. I'm on the phone a lot, so that's kind of work, but I don't meet with clients. So my repetitive, every Sunday morning it comes up and it says no work Sunday. So I really, same idea, is I work super hard Monday through Friday and long hours, but I really want the weekends for myself and for my kids.
That's right, because you let other agents post their open houses.
Yeah, I don't really work, and I mean, I could do more of that, but it's at some point you got to take a break and recharge your batteries so that you have something to give during the week, right? If you just, I'm not because I'm her biggest pupil under this whole time management. She works on me a lot, but the thing is, I do work a lot, even on the weekends by phone. Yeah, physically, I try not to set up any client meetings. I just feel like I need to unplug. So yeah, I've been doing that for years and years. I don't work on Sundays, and I even don't work on Saturdays. And I think the expectation is that we do. And for many years, I did. For many years, I worked 7 days a week, weekends, weekdays, whatever. But now that's a boundary that's important to me.
Yes. Took you a long time.
But I find so I like open houses, right? And sometimes I want to have a lender or somebody with me, because sometimes it's in an area where it's not like close to anything, right? So I remember this one lender, I'm like, this guy, I think we can be a good, we can make a good partnership. And he said, you know what? I don't work on Sundays. And then I'm like, well, I do, and you won't be getting my business. Pretty much.
But that's okay.
That was my thought process, because I'm like, well, I wanted to give him the referrals for everybody who signed in during the open house, and I'm like, but if you're not with me there, then I feel like I shouldn't, I don't.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think everybody has to sort of respect whatever works for them.
But that was his choice, and he's obviously very successful. But it shocked me, because nobody had ever told me I don't work on Sundays, right? Like, maybe they lie to me or whatever. Like, they're busy.
I'll be there anytime you need me.
Right.
Day
But
or
he
night,
was very
on my cell
upfront
phone.
and said, I don't work on
So if you work on Sundays, I think for years, like I said, I did always work weekends, and I would say I still work, I still take calls, but so then do you have other days or time blocks that you take off to give yourself some rest?
So it's typically on a Monday, because I am so drained from the weekend that typically the Monday
Mondays
is
or
the day where I'm like, okay, the kids go to school.
Yes.
I can breathe.
Yes.
Like I can, I can.
Yes. That is important. I mean, I think we do. I remember I had a coach at the very beginning of my career and I was working 7 days a week, and she said you need to have a day, and so it was Monday, and then it was Thursday, and so you have to set aside some time for yourself. Another thing is having a framework for your day, and this I think will kind of answer your. You're great with the going to the exercise class, but then not with your work. Vicki and I both sort of have it's not really time blocking, but just sort of kind of like a flow to the day. And so no matter how busy I am, I try to keep within this, my prospecting activities, my calls, my notes, my pop buys. That stuff gets done first thing in the morning. So I will try not to schedule appointments first thing. Appointments maybe are more in the afternoon. So maybe you have sort of a rhythm to your day. Maybe you prefer morning appointments and your afternoon is for paperwork and prospecting. So and you do that, Diane. Don't you have days of the week that you do?
Yeah. I do.
You want to share your
Monday Manage, which is emails, social media, anything administrative that I need to attend to. Tuesday Talk, I try to get out either to brokers opens or to have tea with a realtor at 2 o'clock, because that's how I remember things. Wednesday walk, I try to get out and do something that will boost my creative juices, like go to a home store or the design center downtown, or just wherever is going to get my creative juices flowing and get out of the house. Thursday, I try to do my thank you notes and anything that I need to take to anybody. And Friday finance. Friday finance, I try to get all my invoices. I used to do invoices like every day. Like if I had an appointment, I would do it then, and it just broke everything up. So I try to do all of those on Fridays. And personal finances too.
Yeah.
You're missing one.
Saturday, Saturday.
Yeah.
The Saturday sips at 6.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
She does like these amazing drinks.
yeah, the cocktails, and I'm like just salivating. I'm like, I want one.
They're so good.
I was doing them every week
Pictures
last year, and now I'm doing them once a month because I'm a little too busy.
Yeah.
Saturday, that's getting anything done that I need to get done, like dry cleaning, grocery shopping, anything that if I were to try and fit it in the week, it's not going to get done. Or having clothes ready to wear.
But are your kids like grown?
They're all gone now.
Yeah, because grocery shopping for me, it's like twice a week kind of thing,
Yep.
or more sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about
But
that.
I will say, it's the same but different. You think you're going to have all this free time, and it's just completely different now.
For sure.
I don't have any more time than I had then. It's just allocated
differently. I like that you do that, and like that you mentioned the invoicing. You used to do it multiple days. I mean, I find that one way. Thank you. Do you have our card? One way to be efficient is to batch your tasks, because, and I would do this sometimes with social media. Like I would do posts for reviews on our website. And instead of like every day or every couple days going in and finding a post and writing it up and doing the thing and putting in the thing, then I would like spend 1 hour and I would schedule reviews for like the entire month. And it actually took me a ton less time because I'm in the groove, right? I know what to say, I know what to do. And so that can really, that can save you a lot of time when you kind of batch your things together.
What was your Sunday day?
Saturday, Sunday fun day.
Sunday fun day. Okay.
Sunday fun day.
I love it.
Like, and it's not always fun day. It's usually home project day, but.
One more thing on boundaries, and then I'll go into my quick tips. So one thing, and we talk about this a lot, Brian Buffini says that if you make a call out to a client for something, it's likely to take about 5 minutes. But if that call comes into you, it's going to take about 15. And so there's something about being proactive with your communication that makes it a little easier and more efficient. And so one of the things that I have done literally my entire career is I do weekly updates for my clients. And I tell them that I'm going to do it. It's part of my presentation. They know it's going to happen. Right now, what works for me is I do it on Wednesdays. And I really believe that it helps to cut down on a lot of that constant, where's my brochures? When's the open house going to be? Blah, blah, blah. Because they know they're going to hear from me. And they know, I've set the expectation. I follow through with it. And they know it's going to happen. And so it really does kind of slow down a lot of that incessant, because they know what to expect. So always implement that. All right, let's talk about a few tactical time management tips. So I like to find ways to be efficient with the things that I need to do. Anything that I can do that's going to cut down on decision making, it actually, I find, saves me a ton of time. Because I'm sure, have you ever experienced this maybe with your spouse or your partner? Where do you want to go for dinner? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't care. Where do you want to? We just have this decision fatigue, right? And especially as the day wears on or as the week wears on, I find that I have less and less of that available to me resource-wise. So one thing that I did, I found that one of my pain points that was causing me to be late in the morning, which was also causing my kids to be late to school, is that I would change clothes 8 times. Right? Because I put on this outfit and it doesn't look right. And then I throw it on the bedroom floor. And then I put on this outfit and it doesn't look right. And then I throw it on, and then I put on this and then it's not comfortable and then this doesn't fit. Right? We all do this. So I got really ruthless one day about 2 years ago, and I took everything out. I tried everything on. because I think most women, we have multiple sizes, right? We have the aspirational, we have the, the 20 years ago, we have the, and so we all have that. So I only put back the stuff that fits currently, the stuff that I like. Yes. Not even just that like it fits, but I don't like it. Like the stuff that I like. Yes. So then when I get dressed in the morning, it's one and done. And I do the night before, I will, I'll think about, okay, what's the temperature going to be? Yeah. I kind of pick it out, and I don't do that anymore. So that's a big one.
Do you color code your closet?
I do.
I do.
Yes. They're in order by color. Yes, I do. I used to have them in order by like sleeve length, like my tops, and then I switched to color. So now they're in order by color.
I just do colors, and it simplifies.
Yes. Another one is find services that you can use that will save you time, like. Amazon, like the UPS guy comes to my house practically every single day. So Amazon is great. They have something called subscribe and save. So think about the stuff that you use at home that you use on a regular basis, like a recurring basis that you're buying. Stuff like paper towels and toilet paper and the food for the dog and the dog treats and the dishwasher cleaner tablets and the all of this stuff. So you can set it up, and once a month I get a delivery. And I don't have to think about it. I don't have to remember it to go order it. Like it just appears on my doorstep. So things like that can save you a ton of time, and there's so much of that that's available to us. So use those things. Grocery services. Esther, you mentioned going to the grocery store. I mean, I find, this week has been hard because we're getting ready to go on vacation. My husband's got something after work. I've got this is that. So we've not done our usual planning this week. And we've killed so much extra time because somebody's got to run to the store and get something for dinner. And then, we forgot something else. Like, I think my husband has been to the store 4 times already this week, which is a huge time waster. So once, usually on the weekends, we will figure out what's our schedule for the week. Are we going to eat out? What are we going to have? We do one grocery store run, and rarely will we have to go again. And I like to use, you can use stuff like Instacart, that delivers the groceries to you. Where I live, nobody delivers groceries to me. But I can go to Harris Teeter, and they do Express Lane. Yeah. It's less than $5. I place my order online. It remembers all the stuff I've ever ordered before. I can click. I schedule when I'm going to pick it up. I just drive up. They load my car. I never even have to get out of the car. So it saves time and it saves money because I'm not wandering aimlessly, grabbing and throwing, and the kids are picking. And so I love that.
So you're missing out on the experience of touching the tomatoes.
I am. That does nothing for me.
I tap the watermelon. And there's some ladies who's like, so the lady's like, what are you doing? Trust me, this watermelon is going to be the best one you've ever had. And I put it on her card.
Now look, if you love it, then do it, right? If you enjoy it, do it. I don't enjoy it. Now my husband can't stand the produce that the Harris Teeter people picks out. So he will sometimes, I won't get the produce, and then he'll go and he touches every single tomato and thing. So do what works for you. But for me, I don't love it, so I'm going to let somebody else do it.
Enjoy it.
One thing I did, I hate to cook. I highly value sitting down to dinner with my family, and we sit down, the 5 of us at the table, almost every single night for dinner at the same time. And sometimes there's sports and there's things going on, so that can be hard. But I really value that. What I don't value is that I have to cook the meal myself. So, or clean up. So a couple years ago, we partnered with this woman who is a caterer in our town, and she started doing this thing called weeknight meals. And now she has a whole business. She has a little storefront in Lovettsville that does this. And she puts out a menu with several choices. I could pick what I wanted. She used to deliver them. Now I got to go pick them up. But that's so good because at least I know, okay, there's 1 or 2 nights of the week that I'm not going to have to cook. I can just go and grab the meal. Somebody else has cooked it for me. So get creative. Think about where are the pain points in your life, and think about, is it a friend who loves to cook that maybe you can pay to come to your home and cook some meals for you that you can freeze and have ready for the week? I mean, there's always things to do with that. So I love that. Routines and systems. I mean, I am all about the routines and systems. I do a load of laundry every single day. I don't, instead of, so I don't have to do that marathon day, or I'm not home and I'm, switching over 12 loads. Every morning I get up super early, I throw the load in, then I put it in the dryer. Now it takes a long time to get folded and put away, but at least stuff is clean.
You don't rewash it 4 times like at my house?
My husband will. I will let it lay wrinkled, and I'm okay with it, but he's very particular about it. So, that was a pain point for me. I have 3 boys. We got a lot of dirty stuff, so I don't think about laundry anymore. So that's my routine. It's my system. Nicola goes to the class. You have your routine. So find things. The routines save you so much time. So look for areas in your life that you can do that.
And it creates discipline too.
Yes.
But once you stick to something,
yes,
it creates discipline.
Yes. In fact, this morning I did not have anything to wash, and I got up and I was like, wow, this is weird.
Yeah.
Use your kids too. I've taught all my kids how to do laundry. My older ones, they've done their laundry for a couple of years now, and I don't, they have learned that if they run out of clothes, it's their problem. So, they do their stuff. We talked about timers and alarms. I use my timer all the time, especially when I'm in the office. As soon as I arrive, I will think about what time do I need to leave, and I set that timer. I have a lot of recurring alarms. If you have an iPhone, there are things that you do every week or that you need to remember every week. Whether it's giving the dog medication or, Thursday I need to put out the milk bottles for the milkman. There's all these things. And so it's scheduled in my phone. What?
You have a milkman?
Oh, I do have a milkman. I live in the country and we have milkman. Yeah, it's really nice.
I have one in Denver.
It's wonderful. Yeah, there's a company called South Mountain Creamery, and they deliver to a lot of places around here. So, so they deliver my milk. But I got to put the bottles out for him to pick up the milk, for the milk. So, and you can change the label. So if you have an iPhone, you can change the label. So if you look at my phone, I've got 10 things that are just, they're there and they're scheduled, and I don't have to think about it. Anything else? That's really it. Anybody else have a time management tip? Something that really works for you that you would like to share?
Well, I heard, go ahead. Oh, okay. I heard this podcast the other day, because that's kind of what inspires me. In the morning, I'll have my coffee, and then I'll just, whatever I feel like listening. Today was real estate. Maybe it might be another, I don't know, inspirational one. But, so he broke out the day in 3 periods. So the first being early in the morning, the second being maybe after lunch, and then maybe the last segment maybe after 3 when we're all getting tired. So he said that for the first part of the morning, which a lot of corporations don't follow because they have so many meetings to go through, but that's when you're most rushed. So that's when you should do your most analytical work.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you take a break, and then the second part is where you do maybe your administrative stuff or your creative stuff, depending on your person.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the afternoon would be something like maybe if you didn't do the creative part, then your admin work. So it's just sort of like, I'm a morning person, so I could get a lot of stuff done in the morning. And I could, but in the afternoon, I'm so exhausted.
Yes.
So I'm sort of like,
after 3, I feel on coffee.
Oh, yes. Totally.
I'm so tired.
Yes.
So when he said that, it's just sort of like making sure you have your schedule down and then seeing what your best are in the day.
I love that. Well, part of that is knowing yourself, right? Understanding what your own rhythms are. And, if you're not a morning person, then, I was talking to somebody the other day and she was saying, well, I'd love to do this miracle morning stuff, but I really need sleep. Know yourself, and you can still do a miracle morning at 8 a.m. It doesn't have to be done at 5 a.m. Work with your cycle and what makes the most sense for you. That's great. I love that. Did you have it, Kelly?
Have you heard of the Devil's Vortex?
No.
So
That's very
it's
spicy.
something- Okay, the coach, and he's a big coach. I think he's in Florida. Can't remember his name, but he's huge. Anyway, his idea is every maybe Sunday before the week, you make a graph of 4 a box. called the Devil's Vortex. And in it, you want to map, what you're going to do for the next week. You're putting in there everything you're going to do for the next week, but you're organizing it into must-dos for business, must-dos for relationship, family, and then the other ones that maybe really don't need to be done.
Nice to do, yeah.
Be delegated. So on Sunday, you have that map for the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And you can check the items off as you
Mm-hmm.
go through.
Mm-hmm.
But it helps keep you focused on those major
Yes.
things that must be done.
Yes, I love
and
that.
I did that, I'll have to admit, I only did it once. But it really worked.
Yeah.
And I need to get back
Yeah.
to it and do that every
Yes.
Sunday. And if I can remember the name of the coach.
Is it Craig
That's
Proctor?
Craig Proctor?
No,
Tom
it's the-
Ferry?
It's
No.
the great one. He's always got a suntan and he's really happy and he's
Oh, I know what you mean. He's not a real estate coach. Darren Hardy.
That's him.
Yes, I know
Yes.
exactly who you're talking about.
The Devil's Vortex.
Interesting.
From Darren Hardy.
Interesting.
Really,
He's really good. I like
mean,
him.
That one time I did it, I felt like, hey.
Well, you know what it is it's intentionality, and so many times we do like what a couple of us have said. We try to knock out the insignificant thing because it gives us a jolt or a boost. But really, we've done nothing because we're not doing what's most important. So it's about being really intentional. We both talk about this. We get so overwhelmed with all of the things. And so, I'm getting ready to go away. And when I do, I get like in crazy person mode because suddenly I have to finish everything that I've ever started, that I've ever thought that I was going to do. I feel this like urgency to get it done. And my brain is a mess. So I took a piece of paper and I listed like everything I thought of. I have everything down from like trim my nails to, schedule the dentist appointment to do the net sheet for so-and-so. Like every single thing is on that list. And then what I can do is then I can prioritize it. Because then I'll take a highlighter and I'll say, okay, what do I have to do today? And then at least, I've kind of got my list and it gives me my framework. So I love that. That works really well. Anybody else? Any tips?
Do you have, may I ask what you have in your office? Do you use a visual? I have my calendar in my phone.
Yes.
Do you have calendars on your walls or
how
do you organize
So what I
yourself?
used to do is I couldn't give up the paper completely. So I used to use a planner. My calendar lives on my phone, but then each week I would sit down and map out my week and I would write down my appointments just because I liked seeing it.
Right.
And then I decided that didn't work for me anymore. So I do have a planner, but it's strictly a task planner. It does have days of the week, and if I have things that need to be done on specific days, it's written there, and then the rest is just lists. But we don't have a
For
calendar.
me, it's the phone. I have a to-do list on my phone, my calendar phone. I do have a planner. I start out using it, and then somewhere by late spring, I'm like, where is it? I can't keep up with it. So I think the phone works really well.
I've gotten to the point where I'm actually, in addition to having a to-do list in my phone, if I have 2 or 3 things that are must-dos
Yes.
on that day, I'll actually just make an appointment on
Yeah.
the phone.
Yeah.
Just put those little 3 things in there so that, the
It's
reminder
there and
is
reminded. Yes.
My
Because
to-do
otherwise it
list,
can,
my
Yeah.
little online notes list basically has at the very top what has to get done. And then I typically put in, and then if I make the call, I'll put an asterisk next to it so I know that that's been started. And then I usually keep sort of like my actives, my pending, personal. So it's like, and if I hang up with someone, I'll say, okay, sure, I'll get this to you right away. The first thing I do is get it on that list. Because then it may not be today, it may be tomorrow, but I want to always deliver on what I promise.
We figured out you can actually, so if both are iPhone users, you can share in the Notes app. So we have a couple that are shared where she can add something to the list and then I can remove it. And, so if you have somebody who's assisting you or helping you, that can be a great way to sort of stay on the same page. So.
Now you did training 8 years ago for Evernote.
Yes,
Do you still use that?
I do. Evernote is like my brain that lives somewhere else.
Okay.
So the reason I like Evernote is because it's highly searchable. And so even if my Evernote is not super organized, which mine is kind of organized, if I need to find something, I can just type in a keyword and anything pops up. So, and it connects to your email. So that's how I keep track of my leads. Because, you know, most of our leads come in via email. So I'll just forward it and it just goes straight into Evernote and it's just there. And then I know that, you know, like the other day, what was I looking for? I knew that somebody had called about a rental and I couldn't remember if it was the same person and I couldn't remember their name. And so I just went into Evernote, I typed in the street name and it popped up. So, so yeah, I do. I love it.
On a side note, do you know what rocket books are?
I've heard of this. Is this where you write it and then it merges to an app?
Cool, yeah.
Yes.
It's a small little notebook that you can buy. You use a friction pen.
Mm-hmm.
You can write in there, and then you can select on the bottom. You can send it to Evernote. You can send it to your email.
Yes.
Depending on which, kind of like a QR type
Yep.
code, you can assign them. And then, yeah, they're pretty cool. And it's reusable like 5 to 10 times.
Yeah.
What is it called? Rocket Book, available on Amazon. But if anybody's looking for a tool where
Yes.
you could like reuse it and
Yes.
put notes in and then send them to different places.
Yes, yes, and no, I love it.
Similar.
Marcia Koss showed me that at a conference, and she did.
I left
She
mine
did
in
that.
the car and it was hot, and heat is what
I've heard that.
wipes it out.
Yes.
I'm so disorganized
Yeah.
that I have 27 notebooks, so I only lost a few things. But
A lot of us do. It's okay.
real life here.
And-
But it's pretty cool. It's
That's
worth
cool.
looking
I've
into
heard,
if you're
yeah, I've heard
the
about
kind
it.
of person that might like that.
Anybody else? All right, so our next meetup is going to be on Thursday, August 8th, here at 12 o'clock, and our topic is going to be handling anxiety and guilt in your business.
That's a good one.
So come see us that day. If you enjoyed watching this program, then I hope that next month you will either visit one of our in-person events. We have them in a variety of different cities all across the country. You can go onto the Facebook group to see all of the different locations. Or if you are a member of Empower Coaching, then you will be able to get the copy of this video as part of your monthly membership. If you're interested in learning more about that, just go to empoweringwomeninrealestate.com/membership.